Remember 2008, the year the housing market collapsed and plunged the world into a financial crisis. It was a shock, a nightmare for millions. But what if I told you that what's coming in 2026 could make 2008 look like a minor tremor before the real earthquake? And what if I told you that this time it's not about subprime mortgages or greedy Wall Street bankers? This time it's a perfect storm of economic forces building quietly right under our noses, a storm that even seasoned investors are failing to see. Unlike 2008, this crisis isn't rooted in bad loans. It's rooted in the very foundation of our economy, which has become dangerously fragile. We're talking about record-high property prices that have completely detached from what people actually earn. We're talking about aggressive interest rate hikes after years of living on easy, cheap money. We're talking about massive, empty office buildings in cities across the country, thanks to the remote work revolution. And we're seeing a huge generational shift where younger people are either unable or unwilling to buy homes. The crisis isn't brewing in the big banks this time. It's brewing in the homes of everyday people, on the balance sheets of over-leveraged developers, and within the pension funds we all rely on for our retirement. Here's something most people have no idea about: the massive takeover of our neighborhoods by giant corporations. Companies like Blackstone and Vanguard have been on a buying spree, snapping up thousands of single-family homes, competing directly with you and me for a place to live. They're not buying these homes for families. They're betting on a future where they can control the rental market and charge whatever they want. But here's the real danger. What happens when the market turns? These corporations, driven by profit, will be the first to sell. They will liquidate their assets at lightning speed, triggering a massive price drop that will crush individual homeowners and smaller investors who can't get out in time. Your home's value could plummet overnight, not because you did anything wrong, but because a faceless corporation decided to cash out. And there's another time bomb ticking, one that barely existed in 2008, adjustable rate mortgage resets. Millions of people bought homes during the frenzy of 2020 to 2022, locking in what seemed like impossibly low interest rates. They stretched their budgets to the absolute limit to get into the market. But those low rates are about to expire. Soon, these homeowners will face a payment shock, with their monthly mortgage payments jumping by 40, 50, or even 60%. Think about that. A family that could barely afford their mortgage to begin with is suddenly hit with hundreds or even thousands of dollars in extra costs every single month. When central banks raised interest rates to fight inflation, they inadvertently lit the fuse on this financial time bomb, a bomb planted in the budgets of millions of households. We are now entering a phase that economists are calling the triple squeeze. It's a devastating combination of three forces hitting families all at once. First, your income is shrinking in real terms because of inflation. Your paycheck just doesn't go as far. Second, your debt is expanding, not just from your mortgage, but from credit cards and car loans, as you struggle to keep up with the rising cost of living. And third, the value of your biggest asset, your home, is about to decline. So your income is down, your debt is up, and your net worth is falling. This triple squeeze is a recipe for financial disaster, pushing millions to the brink of foreclosure. You'll hear experts say, it won't be like 2008, and they're absolutely right. It will be worse. In 2008, people still had to live near their jobs. The demand for housing in key areas remained even during the downturn. But today, the world has changed. Corporate offices in major cities are sitting half empty. The bustling commercial districts that were once the heart of our economy are turning into ghost towns. Office buildings are losing billions in value, and this is just the beginning. Here's a staggering number for you. Over $1.5 trillion in commercial real estate debt is due to be refinanced by 2026, $1.5 trillion. And this debt is tied to buildings whose values are already plummeting. We're talking about potential drops of another 30 to 50%. Banks are desperately trying to avoid a panic They're quietly extending loans, kicking the can down the road, hoping for a miracle. But insiders know the truth. A wave of defaults is inevitable. This isn't just about office buildings. It's happening to shopping malls, warehouses, and apartment complexes. And when these massive commercial defaults begin to accelerate, the crisis will spill over and collide with the residential market, creating what we call a convergence meltdown. It's a domino effect on a scale we've never seen before. Meanwhile, an entire generation is opting out of the housing market. Millennials and Gen Z are looking at the insane prices and crippling mortgage rates, and they're saying, no, thank you. They're choosing to rent, live with family, or find alternative living situations because the traditional dream of homeownership has become a financial nightmare. This is creating a huge demand vacuum at the exact same time that supply is about to surge. An entire generation of baby boomers is now entering retirement, and they need to sell their assets, including their homes, to fund their later years. So we have a historic first, a mass generational exit from the property market, happening at the same time that institutional investors are getting ready to pull out. Supply is about to explode while demand is set to wither. It's basic economics, and the outcome is terrifying. So let's pause for a moment and really think about this. For the first time in modern history, we are facing a real estate downturn that isn't caused by bad loans or a banking failure. It's caused by broken economic fundamentals and deep, irreversible societal shifts. It's a crisis of affordability, a crisis of commercial real estate, a crisis of changing work habits, and a crisis of generational wealth transfer, all hitting at the same time. If what I've just shared is already revealing a picture you never knew existed, if you can feel the urgency of what's unfolding, I want you to go to the comments right now and write 2026 won't catch me unprepared. Because the fact that you're still watching means you're different. You're not here to be entertained. You're here to understand, to prepare, and to protect yourself and your family. And if this is already blowing your mind, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Because what I'm about to share next will change how you view real estate, wealth, and your financial security forever. We're going to break down the specific sectors that will be hit the hardest, the warning signs you need to look for in your own city, and, most importantly, the practical steps you can take right now to not only survive this crisis, but to potentially come out stronger on the other side. You are not powerless. Knowledge is your shield, and preparation is your sword. Stick with me, because what we discuss next is crucial for your financial future. The entire real estate economy is built on one single belief, that property prices will always eventually go up. But as Warren Buffett famously said, only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. The coming meltdown, projected for 2026, is set to expose everyone who relied on short-term growth, risky leverage, and speculative buying. What most people don't realize is that real estate markets move in predictable, long-term cycles, typically spanning 18 to 20 years. If you look at history, this pattern is surprisingly consistent. And according to this theory, the next major collapse was due right around 2026 or 2027. We are right on schedule, but this time it's different. The scale is what's truly terrifying. In 2008, the bubble was largely concentrated in the U.S. housing market. Today we're staring down the barrel of a global real estate bubble. It's in residential housing, commercial sectors, land development, and even vacation properties. It's everywhere. Think about it. For years, massive amounts of foreign capital have been pumped into Western real estate markets, propping up prices. But as the global economy slows down, what happens when that capital is pulled out? A mass withdrawal could trigger a chain reaction, making property prices incredibly unstable. The warning signs are already here, if you know where to look. Eviction rates are climbing, mortgage delinquencies are surging. The ratio of rent to income is crossing critical thresholds in major cities worldwide. And have you noticed all the construction projects that have suddenly stalled? Cranes hanging silently over half-finished buildings are a clear sign that funding has frozen. And the banks? The very institutions once deemed too big to fail are now overexposed to commercial property at record levels. They know the risk. Secretly, they've already started offloading it through complex financial instruments, a strategy eerily similar to what we saw right before the 2008 crash with mortgage-backed securities. Except this time, the poison isn't just subprime mortgages, it's commercial real estate debt. The global shift to remote work isn't a temporary trend. It has permanently cratered the demand for office space. Cities like New York, San Francisco, London, and Hong Kong are seeing iconic buildings that once generated millions a year now sitting half empty. When these properties are inevitably and forcibly repriced to reflect this new reality, the lenders holding that debt will suffer catastrophic losses. This will lead to a massive credit crunch, which will then cascade into construction, employment, and consumer spending, grinding the economy to a halt. It's a vicious, self-feeding cycle. First, property values fall. This wipes out equity for homeowners and investors. Then, foreclosures begin to mount. This leads to job losses in related industries. With less money and less confidence, consumer demand evaporates. This forces further asset repricing, and the cycle accelerates. Once panic truly sets in, it's already too late. The meltdown feeds on itself. So what's the one crucial lesson from the 2008 financial crisis that most people have conveniently forgotten? It's that real estate disasters begin slowly, and then they collapse suddenly, all at once. In the early stages, denial is rampant. You'll hear experts on TV saying, "Oh, it's just a market correction," or "the fundamentals are strong." But by the time the mainstream media officially acknowledges a collapse, the real damage has already been done behind the scenes. The dominoes have already fallen. The winners of the next crisis won't be the people trying to time the exact bottom of the crash. That's a fool's game. The winners will be those who were already positioned for it when the panic began. Look at what the smart money is doing right now. Wealthy individuals like Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, and major investment firms are quietly accumulating massive piles of cash. They are liquidating their non-performing assets and getting ready. They are preparing to buy distressed assets, prime real estate, solid companies, at discounts of 40, 50, even 70% below their current inflated values. History doesn't just repeat itself. It orchestrates a massive transfer of wealth. It moves wealth from the emotional and unprepared to the disciplined and the strategic. In 2026, the most valuable asset you can own won't be a portfolio of properties. It will be liquidity, it will be stable, reliable cash flow, and it will be strategic patience, the ability to wait for the perfect moment to strike while everyone else is panicking. And we can't forget the role of governments. As the crisis unfolds, expect them to intervene with radical policy shifts. We could see rent freezes, new property taxes, or severe credit tightening. While intended to help, these interventions often distort the market even further, creating both new risks and new opportunities for those who can see them coming. If you've watched this far, it means you're not the average viewer. You're someone who wants to be ahead of history, not crushed by it. You understand that something big is on the horizon. If this video has opened your eyes to the economic trajectory we're on, then subscribe now and turn on notifications. I want you to comment below with this sentence: I won't wait for 2026. I'm preparing now. Share this video with at least one person who still believes that the 2008 crisis was the worst they'll ever see in their lifetime. Because what's coming is not just another recession, it's a structural real estate reset, the kind of event that will be studied in history books for decades, and only those who understand it today will be the ones who own the opportunities of tomorrow. Thanks for watching.